part 2 of the video. The batteries of course did die and it's now Monday lunchtime and we have new batteries. Anyway, back to the spring hangers. Talking about the thread. Yes, not only does it allow adjustment, but by having a thread rather than a straight shaft, it spreads the load. The surface area is probably 2.5 times what it would be just with a straight bush. So that's great. And of course this had the Luvax self-oiling chassis system. So every time you went over a bump, the chassis got a shot of oil to lubricate it. Absolutely brilliant. Hold on, we'll just have a quick look around here. You can see that the chassis is old enough that it was hot riveted. The weld there is me just being a bit cautious because of the different engine that's going in. But in essence, most of the chassis had the riveted system. And if I take you around the side here, you can see that on the inner sections it has this beautiful herringbone system to add strength. That looks rather nice as well. For a 77-year-old chassis, it's lasted pretty well. Of course, being in a barn for a long time helps. So today it's going off to be sandblasted and coated, etc. Should come back in a few days' time looking rather gorgeous. I've started work on the front rear axles. In fact, the rear axle is nearly finished. Some beautiful detailing here. Look at the instructions on the filler. And if we move round, you can see every single part of the car has got its own beautiful plaque with part numbers, etc. Front axle, rear axle, they've all got plaques. Here's the front axle, obviously hasn't been cleaned yet, but you get the idea. And even going down to the front springs, which are all going to have some treatment today and tomorrow, yet another plaque. All the part numbers, absolutely beautifully done. And we can see on these springs the threading for the inside of the shackles, etc. Brass or bronze I would think. Absolutely lovely. Anyway, we're going to be documenting the car as we rebuild it, taking lots of videos for interest. As you can see, more expensive splined wheels, not just a case of 5-wheel nuts. And they had not really knock-on, but they've got chrome nuts with a huge nut spanner that goes with them. All the chrome's away at the moment, being re-chromed. That should come back looking very pretty in a few days' time. 18-inch wheels. Tyres after 77 years might need a little bit of renewing. They're not too good. Actually, they stayed up, which is amazing, and this one, which was on the back, is still up, but it has a very impressive crack running all the way around. But it's still holding the car up, which is pretty good. I was holding it up. Anyway, what have we got hanging up in the garage here? Well, we've got brakes, new gearbox mounting, new engine mounting that I've made, steering items. Very interestingly, this piece is very small, and if I hold it you may be able to see the word front written on it. This is a case of reusing stuff, because that came off a 1977 Lincoln, which I owned. Then it got put onto my Mustang, and then it got changed for a different one, and now it's going to be the gearbox mounting for the Daimler. So it's gone from 1977 to 1971 to 1934. So that's definitely reusing stuff and saving energy in the world. Oh, over here we've got the steering column, still in good nick. Horn indicators, etc. And of course the original version of cruise control, where you move the lever around to change the revs from tick over to fast, so you could take your foot off the accelerator and still go charging up the road, etc. in their version of cruise control. Engine was kaput, as I said in the video, and of course dreadfully inefficient, the old ones. So we have here a rebuilt 4.2 litre triple carbed Jag engine. It's the same one that went in the E-type Jag. This one has come out of a 1967 Jag 420G. That's the big bulbous one that looked like a Mark 10. In fact, it was a Mark 10 with different badges, really. This has had an extensive rebuild. It looks a bit dirty and dusty because it's also been in the shed for quite a few years. But we put a battery on, put some petrol in there, and it fired straight up and it sounded brilliant. So that's going in there, hence the new engine mounting I made a few days ago, which will sit under here. And we have nice Land Rover mounting rubbers to go with it, because they fit the bill and have the weight. Automatic gearbox, and all of this just fits in the Daimler chassis so well you'd think it was absolutely made for it. Luckily, despite the age difference, the prop shaft connection there and the Daimler prop have exactly the same bolt face, and they'll just go together absolutely beautifully. One last thing, it's hiding around here somewhere. Oh yes, in the distance is the prop shaft. Now something interesting is going to happen with this. Here we are. With the Jag engine, it's about 3 inches too long. Not a problem to shorten it. However, it will be shortened a lot more because from America I have bought a Hone drive named after Fred Hone, H-O-N-E, who realized that cars in the 60s and early 70s were revving themselves to death with the low ratio back axles. So he invented the Hone drive. You basically cut the prop shaft, cut a section out of the prop shaft, put the Hone drive in, connect it all up. It can be operated electrically or mechanically. If it's mechanically, you've got something that looks like a second gear lever alongside the first gear lever if you're running a manual. And by engaging the Hone drive, you cut the revs down apparently about 47%, which will certainly be needed in today's roads, because this fellow, unfortunately, if I show you this, the gearing is 736. Is it a 6 or a 5? It looks like a 6. So basically that's 5 to 1, and I worked out with these size tyres 85 miles an hour, and the Jaguar engine we'd be doing 5,000 revs, which is not very fuel efficient and would be quite noisy as well. So with the Hone drive in there, we'll knock that down by 47% obviously, which will be much more relaxed and much better on fuel economy. Well, I think that's about it for this video. We better get the chassis all prepared, ready for its travelling off and being blasted and coating. Should be back by the weekend, and I can start putting axles back together, etc. Doesn't look much like a rolling chassis at the moment, but by the time we get around to the next video, it should look slightly more car-like. Well, possibly more truck-like actually, but you know my drift. Okay, catch you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.